So here in my garage, I've got these mealworms and I've got these roaches. But do you know what I like even more than mealworms and roaches? Flies. In this video I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to show you an interview I did at the Living Earth Expo here in Namibia, brand new to me in any case, with a pioneer of black soldier flies. I am going to tell you what I believe every permaculture business should do and every business should do to increase their profits. Simple thing, and what I would do different with the flies. And I would tell you about the first time that I planted Mary Jane or marijuana and how it went for me. Right, I'll see you in the next clip. So we are here with Oliver Buase. I hope I'm pronouncing
that's pronounced right.
Pronounced right. With his super flies. I quickly want to show you the black soldier flies that he's got here. See how beautiful they are. Just look at that. And he's a real pioneer in Namibia with regards to flies. I don't know if there's any other people really.
Yeah, maybe there's some dabbling in it here and there, but commercially, I think, yeah, we're the
So
only
I just quickly want to show you his setup as well, or what he's got here today. He's got some compost bags. You sort of have to guide me.
Yeah,
guide me
compost is best behind you.
Okay,
yes.
let me show you these.
In recycled plastic bags.
Okay.
And then show some of the smaller products as we currently have them.
That's for birds and hedgehogs and things like that. Used as an animal feed.
Yes, and also registered as an animal feed. So
okay,
you know, people can use it to feed their commercial animals, and it can be sold and bought. And then, yeah, these guys are sun dried, and these ones are oven dried.
Oven dried.
Yes, which is why
that's interesting. Are they heavier?
No, they're lighter. So it's more like
sun dried ones
and popcorn.
Biltong and popcorn.
So the one puffs up and the other one dries and shrinks
down a bit. Yes, tell me, if you don't mind, how did you get involved in this?
Yeah, mostly through the internet and some other friends who tried it before and not really succeeded, but this time I decided now to go all in.
Yeah,
and actually, you know, try and experiment here and there what works, and then found out there's a lot of food waste that ends up in the landfills. So that's what we are focusing on.
Sorry, my camera is bumping. I just want to quickly ask you about the I see this is this a normal mosquito net?
Yeah, similar
to mosquito net.
Exactly, except it doesn't have the poison that mosquito nets have. Yes, but the fabric is sort of ideal for that. Yes,
the size of the hole, so you can build your thing with mosquito net size type of
and even some bigger. These are a bit bigger than normal mosquito net, I think.
Okay.
But you also get some with bigger holes, material with bigger holes, but this works fine.
And this is the adult flies.
These are the adult flies. They basically hatched a couple of, or emerged from their pupa.
Just want to make sure this thing is on. Sorry,
it was flickering. From their pupal stage a couple of days ago, and now just this morning I put a few in the cage to take along for the exhibition. And yeah, they do their mating. And let's see if there are any busy
with the fly deed.
Yeah, currently
they're in the back. There's two naughty ones. They're in the back.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
So how long are they in this stage?
In this stage, we keep them about for a week. That's about how long they last anyway.
Okay.
They get some water to have a drink, because that's about all they can do. And
so they drink water and they mate.
And yeah, and then they lay their eggs, and then they pass on.
That's
so
quite nice.
From those eggs then that we harvest, we then incubate them in a special incubator that we built, and yeah, then those, once they hatch, we collect the hatchlings, and those we feed on fruit and vegetable waste, like we said, that we get all over town from various supermarkets. And
I saw one of your
distributors.
dustbins.
Yes.
So do you put them?
We leave them with the shops. They sort out their food waste anyway, because most of them sort out the plastic and cardboard anyway. So why not give them an extra bin for the fruit and vegetable waste?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then their general waste is just really, really little. If we do get plastics in there, that we also send to recycling. So yeah, that
quite a nice,
closes that
yeah,
gap a bit.
Vinteg's got quite a nice recycling thing going on. It's something
it's
we don't see in the
definitely-
north at all. It's no recycling at all.
Yeah. No, it's growing. It's getting, people are accepting it and keeping to it as well.
Yeah.
So that's
It's quite a nice thing.
yes.
And,
so that's the gap that we found, and it's instead of sending all that stuff to the landfill, we've got our little farm.
How
if
big
you
is
wanna call
your setup?
About,
All the cages together
Cages, it's not really big.
in gazebo sizes.
In gazebo sizes, maybe about one gazebo size, just for all the flies that we have.
Okay.
For the larvae growing themselves, it's about bigger than about double garage size, if you want to think about that.
Yeah. Like six gazebos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And about 6 gazebos, and in that we're currently processing just under 300 kilos of fruit and vegetable waste a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And
incredible.
we could go up to 500. That's the capacity we have. It's just we need some.
And the market, do you
more.
find that people are buying
They're
the
slowly going for it. I mean, the most popular is the compost that comes from that,
Okay.
especially the nurseries in Swakopmund. They want it by the pallet. Actually, they want it by the ton. So as soon as we can,
As much as you can produce,
as
you can
much as
sell.
we can, the compost actually just goes very quickly.
And the other products is basically the dried flies
dried larvae, yes.
or dried
And-
larvae, sorry.
Yes.
And how's the market for that?
That's slowly picking up. I mean, it also needs some. Word of mouth helps a lot, and just normal advertising exposure like this, and then because once someone's read about it, and then they like, okay, good, they try it,
Seed planted.
yes, but they're not immediately going for it because they're still thinking, oh, flies, okay, yeah. But then as soon as they've tried it, they keep coming back.
Yeah.
You know, it works well for their chickens or their fish, or their pets love it, or yeah.
Do you offer some sort of training yet?
Not yet, no. But that's something that definitely
Something maybe that you can expand into.
And then, I mean, even sometimes we do have a lot more of the eggs and hatchlings than we can actually use. So that would be another expansion to help communities process their own waste sources that they have. And it's easier to send the small ones to the waste than it would be to take the waste all the way to Windhoek and then process it there. And it's also, if you don't have so much waste, then actually trying to breed the flies themselves is a lot of work, a lot of hassle. They need to be looked after every day. You need to collect the eggs every day and make sure there's no problems and the environment is correct. So it does get quite complicated to actually do the flies themselves. But if people wouldn't want to necessarily do that, then there would be the option of just sending a small box with a couple of thousand of larvae in there that they can just add to their waste, process it, and have the chickens clean up the larvae around it, or harvest it themselves, however they would like to then do it. But there's simple methods where the larvae can harvest themselves technically, and the chickens can collect them as they harvest, and what's left over is then can go to the fields back.
Yeah.
So there's then opportunity for that. So especially if it's then at a longer distance, because also then transporting the grown larvae and the compost out again is also, it's all fuel. Yeah. So if the waste is somewhere, it's easier to bring the hatchlings there. Yes. They can grow from that, and the farmers can reap the benefit. Reap the benefit there. And if they do come to town and they do need some extra, we would always have some extra.
Tell me quickly, how long from this stage to this stage again? So from the time you have a larvae until you have a larvae again, how long does that take?
From a pre-pupae, so these really darkest ones.
Okay.
That it will take about another week until they...
Well, these ones are becoming more dormant now.
Yes.
Okay.
Or until they find a place where they can hide and feel safe.
Okay.
Then from there on it takes about a week until they pupate, and maybe another week until they hatch. And then from there, if they find a mate immediately, then it takes about another 4 to 5 days until they've laid there and found, emerged, and then
they're a week, 2 weeks, and 4 and 5. So let's say 3 weeks.
Yeah, no, let's say 3 weeks exactly. And then that's also when the larvae have hatched, and then from hatching it can be another 2 weeks until they're back at the stage.
So we have about 5 weeks from period until period. And how many eggs does a fly typically lay?
A typical female lays between 400 to about 800 eggs.
Okay.
Also depends on the size of the fly. Smaller, so
amount of food maybe you gave to the larvae.
Exactly. If the larvae is fat and happy, and then the fly will come out bigger and has more fat reserves and protein reserves, and she'll lay more eggs.
Okay.
So if they're small and minuscule, then they'll lay on the lower end.
I understand.
They do lay a lot of eggs, numbers wise, but weight wise, it's really small amount, because each egg is just about 25 micrograms, so that's 0.4 zeros.
You divide this fly into 500 pieces, even if it lies its whole body, it's still nothing.
Still very little.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so tell me quickly, how do you deal with the frost and cold in Namibia?
That depends on I mean the larvae themselves, we don't really worry about them because they warm themselves up through their eating process and the food that's in there, and because there's then a lot of them, they keep each other warm. So then it's even problem of that's still not overheating. Actually keeping them cool enough. And the flies themselves, they can tolerate temperatures about as low as 13 degrees Celsius, and then anything lower than that we do have to put heating on or put them in the sun. So then at night the greenhouse where they are in, they will be covered so that there's extra layer between the flies and the weather. Yes. And then also we do the composting next to the fly house in winter, so that they get some more heat from that. Yes.
Very interesting. Listen, thank you very much for the interview. I really appreciate it.
And now there's some more frisky ones in there.
Yeah, I think they are, as the heat is coming, they are becoming more romantic. Right, so that was my very first interview I ever did. We just find a place where I can speak to you. So I interrupted and I made some mistakes and what. But I think it went pretty well. And so there was a business principle. Let me just put this thing down here. Sounds like a pretty nice place to sit. Right, so there's some business principles that I read in the book Calvin and Hobbes. Very important business book if you've ever read the comic Calvin and Hobbes. So in this one strip, he says, I'm only going to finish first grade and then I'm going to stop with school. And so Hobbes asked him, you know what are you going to do then? You've only finished first graders. If you're only in second grade. He says, I'm going to teach the first graders. Now, it's a joke, obviously, you can't do that. But in real life, in the academic system, you cannot do that. But in real life, I think it's very important to have that attitude. I know maybe 1% of what there is to know about permaculture. And I think to be an eternal student is extremely important. But I think to have the will to teach from day one is also very important, because in my little couple of amateur YouTube videos that I don't know how to edit yet, and I don't know how to speak English and all of those things, I created a little movement and I created some momentum. So even with my limited amount of knowledge, I can make a change. And I would suggest that anybody else do the same. Even if it's not with permaculture, if it's with anything else, I suggest that you integrate a teaching element into your business. Oliver Buase knows much more about flies than I would most likely ever know in my life. And I really do hope he integrates a teaching element. He said he would. And that would probably increase the value of his flies from, you know, a couple of cents to a couple of dollars. Because the value you add is much higher. You all of a sudden you're the person that they can call 8 o'clock at night and say, listen, my flies are doing this, what can I do? And so the value that you add to the people around you and to your clients is much higher than, here's a bag of dried flies, go feed them to your birds. All of a sudden it becomes a movement. And I saw the same with my red wigglers. Instead of selling just a compost and not wanting anybody for competition, I trained my competition as hard as I could. I tried my best to create as many competitors as I can, people selling worms and selling compost. And the only thing that I accomplished is grateful clients, lots of friends, and much higher value for my product and a much higher demand for what I have to sell. So them selling worms and compost actually increased the demand for my worms and my compost. And so I think, just in short, integrating teaching into any business should be very important. And I'm not the best at it yet. I'm still, as I said, an eternal student, but I think it's something with lots of potential. And I think that sums up the video on flies. I wanted to tell you my story about the Mary Jane or the marijuana that I planted. Sorry, always when you're on camera, all of a sudden your face starts itching. That's something that I realized now. You want to scratch your nose and you want to touch your face, and you're very aware of your hands and very aware of your voice. But anyway, when I just left school, I worked at a little electronic shop for 6 months or so, and then I got a job on an island in Mozambique called Bazarutu Island. And I was very naive. I grew up in a very conservative Christian family. I've never seen a gay man before. I've never seen any drugs before. Alcohol was never used in our house. I had no idea what drunk people look like. And so I went to this island with these divers and these fishermen and these pilots. Pilots are probably the worst drinkers. And I got a job there as a stable manager, managing 6 horses, and I had 5 staff. So you can imagine I had loads of time. I became a dive master. I just did whatever I wanted. If I wanted to go fishing with the clients, I went there. If I wanted to go diving, I went diving. It was like being on holiday and getting paid for it. But it took some time. In the beginning, I was just a fisherman, and I was sort of the lowest ranking, a horse boy, and I was sort of the lowest ranking person that you could find there, because as soon as the other staff realized I didn't drink, they treated me like the gilly or the You know, I was the one that had to cook. I was the one that had to do the washing. I had to do the pouring of drinks. I was sort of the slave for everybody because I was the person that didn't drink. And my boss, who was the sort of the main guy on the island, he was instigating me being humiliated as often as I can. And humiliated is maybe not the right word. Maybe abused. I don't know what the right word was. I didn't feel abused or humiliated. Let's say it like that. Maybe they tried their best. But I was definitely the lowest ranking person there. And all because I didn't want to drink, I didn't want to smoke, I didn't want to do any of the things. And so one of the things we did often is we went to the beach, I'd say maybe once a month, and we would kill a goat, buy a goat, kill a goat, and I was the person that had to do that, process it, and then we would roast it over the fire, big pieces of meat, and everybody would be drinking and playing drinking games and so on. And I would never forget what the taste of half-cooked goat meat tastes like, filled with beach sand, because that's what we sort of had to eat. It was never good, but we always had it again. And so we dug this big hole, made this fire, and I was talking to this one fisherman guy one night, and he explained to me, he was the head of fishing there, you know, he had this little copper pipe, and he explained to me this things that they were smoking in Egypt called hashish, and I think that was what it was called. And so I helped him, and I listened to his story, and I was so inquisitive. And you know, and then a couple of weeks later we were sitting around another fire, and I said to them, you know what, I never even seen marijuana. I don't even know what it smells like. I've never even seen it. I don't come from the world you guys come from. And this fisherman guy looked over to me and he said, what do you mean you haven't even seen marijuana? You helped me select out the seeds and sort of put them in the bushes there where they will grow, and helped me put the marijuana in my pipe so I can smoke it. So without knowing it, I was helping this guy smoking pot, which was highly illegal in Mozambique. I guess it still is highly illegal in Mozambique. And listening to his story, because he used different words for what this is, I had no idea that I was dealing with this, and this is what was happening all around the fire. Everybody was smoking it, and I was helping sort out the pips, and I had no idea what I was doing. So that was my very first brush with marijuana. I still haven't smoked it ever. I still haven't planted it. I still really want to plant it. I see the sheep's gonna jump into the vegetable garden now. And yeah, but that's the end of my story. Thank you very much, guys, for watching my videos, and I hope you have a wonderful day.